Chief, look! Land on the horizon!
By Odin's ravens, at last, new land!
Chief, I think we should go back. There's nothing here besides big cows and dudes with bows and arrows. I think they're not happy to see us.
Nonsense. We stay. I have a feeling this land is going to be worth so much in the future.
I'm pretty sure nothing's ever going to happen here.
1,500 years later.
Ouch! Ouch! Stop!
What did I tell you? We should have taken it first. Big cows. My foot. Around 500 years before Christopher Columbus, a group of Viking explorers casually showed up in North America. Around 1000 CE, led by Leif Erikson. They called the land Vinland. It's somewhere, over there. Unfortunately for the Vikings, the trip was cut short because of brutal distances, unfamiliar climates, and multiple arrows to the chest. So after a few years, they packed up their longships and said, nope, and left. During those periods, North America was not empty but home to an estimated 5 to 10 million indigenous people. I love it here. Clear sky, fresh air, no diseases, plenty of food. I hope nothing ever changes. After the Vikings left, nobody checked on America for almost 500 years. And suddenly, in 1492, sponsored by Spain, Christopher Columbus set out to find a shorter route to India by sailing west. Because most people during those periods took this route. In the hopes of finding gold, silk, and spices, he sailed for 2 months. On October 12, 1492, he arrived on an island in the Caribbean. Finally, we arrived in India. Sir, this doesn't look like India. There are no people here. I don't see any gold or spices. What are you talking about? Look, those are the Indians. Look at all the spices. I don't think those are, well, never mind. Congratulations, sir. He thought he reached some island near Asia, so he named the people Indians and named the place the Indies. Native Americans were called Indians because Christopher Columbus was bad at geography. By the way, after the first voyage, Columbus made 4 more trips to the Americas between 1492 and 1504. With all those trips, he never realized he had encountered a new continent. He died believing he had found a shorter route to Asia. I can't die so soon. I have so much to explore. After India, I was planning to visit China up on the north. I was right there. Yeah, sure you were. Sir, you were so close. Even though Columbus didn't realize he found a new continent, the rest of Europe did, and so began the race to colonize the Americas and the natives. Spain jumped in first. Don't mind me if I do. I'll take this and this. France came in second and took over Canada and Louisiana. Seeing this expansion, the British Empire was feeling FOMO. So around 1585, England sent its first group of settlers to Roanoke Island. They tried to settle there, but everyone magically disappeared without a trace, earning it the name the Lost Colony. The next attempt to build a colony came as Jamestown in 1607. They were hoping to find gold like Spain, but sadly, the only thing they found was arrows to the chest. The colony was at its last life, with the population dropping from 500 to 60. Then entered John Smith. This guy, he suggested, hey, let's stop searching for gold and start farming. What an idiot, you might be thinking. But it actually worked. They started farming tobacco, which made them profitable, thus making the colony sustainable. They also established good relations with the natives, so no arrows to the chest. Never mind, less arrows to the chest. Around the 1610s and 1620s, Jamestown became the first permanent English colony to survive. The next major colony was Plymouth. Over the next century, settlements expanded along the Atlantic coast, eventually forming the 13 English colonies by 1732. It's 1754 now. In the colonial race to take over America, Britain and France finally started competing for the same land. Both wanted control over the fertile Ohio River Valley, which was also known as Indian Territory. Both sides promised the natives that if they fought for them, they would keep their land. Brother, join me. I will give you land. But it's our land. You're already taking it. Well, in that case, I promise we will not touch your lands. Maybe a little. Okay, fine, here's the truth. We will take less than the British. Now fight for us. And so started the French and Indian War in 1756, otherwise known as the 7 Years' War. The natives fought on the French side against Britain. Britain and its allies managed to win against the French and native forces. After the win, Britain took most of France's colonies. But this war left Britain, how do I put it, broke as hell. So they asked the colonists nicely to pay up, and the colonists were like, hell nah. The crown started imposing different taxes on the colonists. like the Stamp Act, Sugar Act, and Townshend Acts. This made the colonists angry, so they did a tea party. No, not this kind of tea party, this type of tea party. The colonists dressed up as Native Americans and yeeted 342 chests of British tea straight into the ocean. The Crown got angry and closed the Boston port, starving the city. All this drama led to the formation of the Continental Congress in 1774, and so began the Revolutionary War. The British won some early fights, the colonists lost some, everyone argued, and George Washington somehow kept the army together with very little money. With French ships, soldiers, and cash joining the party, the colonists finally trapped the British at Yorktown in 1781 and forced them to surrender. Already broke from the 7 Years' War, Britain looked at the war bill and panicked. So in 1783, the Treaty of Paris was signed, and Britain officially recognized the United States of America as an independent nation. After the war, the US managed to get all this land, almost doubling its size from the 13 colonies. After the war ended, the US was only united in name. Each state was divided, arguing among themselves. The central government was weak and had no real power. Things got worse when farmers revolted against the government in Shays' Rebellion. Realizing the country might completely fall apart, leaders met in 1787 and quietly ditched the Articles, writing the U.S. Constitution instead. By 1789, the new government was up and running, and George Washington became the first president. And by 1800, the United States was truly united. Hey, look, it's 1800 now. More and more people are coming from Europe. Farmland started to get expensive, so people started moving westward for cheap land and opportunity. And so came Manifest Destiny. Manifest Destiny was a 19th century belief that the United States was destined by God to expand its territory across the North American continent, from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. But it was just an excuse to acquire more territory. But you see, there was this tiny issue known as thousands of Native Americans and millions of bison. Whoa, that's a huge issue. How are we gonna expand and manifest our destiny? You see, Jimmy, there was this very powerful magical wand that solves all your problems, otherwise known as a gun. We used it, and our problems went away. Oopsie. Oh no, those poor bison. Just shut up and eat your steak, Jimmy. So, America manifested its destiny and started acquiring a bunch of new land. The USA bought Louisiana in 1803 from France for just $15 million, equivalent to $400 million of today's money. It's still pocket change. Darn it, should have asked for more money. While the US was expanding at home, the British were looking for some payback. It was 1810, and the UK was busy fighting the Napoleonic Wars. They were low on money and manpower, so they started kidnapping sailors from US ships through a practice called impressment, claiming American sailors as British deserters. Hey, stop doing that right now. Stop doing what? Stop stealing our sailors, else we will declare war. Well, these are technically British sailors, and I will declare war too. And so began the War of 1812, and it ended as quickly as it began. This is how it went. The US tried to fight the British in Canada, making multiple attempts to turn Canada into the 51st state, but it didn't work. Britain got angry and burned the White House and parts of Washington, D.C. After a few more fights, the Treaty of Ghent was signed in 1814. The treaty changed nothing, and neither side truly won. The war ended in a stalemate. That's why in the US it's often called the Forgotten War. But in Canada, it's remembered quite vividly. After this side quest was over, the US went back to its expansion phase. In 1819, the US decided to buy Florida from Spain. Hey, Spain, can you sell me Florida? Sure, that'll be $5 million, please. But you have to promise one thing. Yeah, sure, anything for you, my guy. You see this line? This will be the American-Mexican border. Don't touch it. Don't claim Texas. We have a deal. Yeah, sure. Why not? We'll definitely not annex that area. Rest assured. So finally, in 1821, the USA acquired Florida from Spain. It's 1830 now, and US expansion was in full force, and everyone was getting rich, prosperous and happy, except the natives. Native Americans were pushed out to make space for settlers. As more people moved into native lands, the government forced tribes to leave. In 1830, Andrew Jackson signed the Indian Removal Act, which allowed the forced relocation of native tribes to land west of the Mississippi. This led to the Trail of Tears, where thousands of native people died during long, harsh marches, but the expansion continued. The next territory gained by the US was Texas. Texas had originally belonged to Spain, then became Mexican territory after Mexico's independence. Many American settlers moved there, disliked Mexican laws, and declared independence in 1836. Initially, the US was not interested in another slave state, but after Andrew Jackson, the US annexed Texas in 1845. Mexico got angry, obviously, and so began another war, the Mexican-American War of 1846. Man, people can't catch a break. The United States, with stronger military resources, defeated Mexico in a series of battles and advanced deep into Mexican territory. Also, Mexico didn't have a navy back then. So yeah, it was easy to invade. Finally, the war ended with the Treaty of the Guadalupe Hidalgo in 1848, where Mexico lost almost 50% of its territory. While the war was still going on, the United States also reached an agreement with Britain over the Oregon Territory. Under the Oregon Treaty, the land was divided along the 49th parallel, with the southern portion going to the United States, and the northern portion remaining British Canada. This settlement completed America's transformation into a continental power, stretching from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Finally, we have a huge territory. There's nowhere to expand. Yes. Now we can take a break and relax. Hey, what's going on? I was looking for you guys all over the place. All the land acquisition was about to bite America right in the Texas. Every time the United States gained new territory, the million-dollar question was the same. Would it become a slave state or a free state? The southern states pushed aggressively for the expansion of slavery, while the northern states fought to stop it. Oh wow, it's already 1861. Time for another war. Come on, man, not again. But this time, the US was not fighting any country but itself. In 1861, the American Civil War started. Southern states, fearing the loss of slavery, seceded from the Union and formed the Confederacy, while the northern states fought to preserve the Union and gradually end slavery. The United States was divided into two groups. The North had more factories, money, and soldiers, while the South relied heavily on agriculture and enslaved labor. During the war, President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, which declared enslaved people free in Confederate-held territories. This transformed the war from a fight to save the Union into a moral struggle against slavery and allowed African Americans to join the Union Army. In 1865, the Union defeated the Confederacy, and slavery was formally abolished nationwide through the 13th Amendment. After the war, the United States entered the Reconstruction era, aimed at rebuilding the South and integrating formerly enslaved people into society. Finally, the United States was united again. Thought we were done expanding? Nope. It's 1867. The United States bought Alaska from the Russian Empire for $7.2 million. After the end of the Reconstruction in 1877, the United States entered a period of dramatic economic change, known as the Industrialization and Gilded Age. During this time, the nation shifted rapidly from an agricultural society to an industrial powerhouse. New technologies, abundant natural resources, and a growing workforce fueled the expansion of factories and mass production. It was 1898. America was thriving, and it was time for another war. Come on, man, not again. We just finished a civil war. What's this new war, you ask? Cuba had been trying to break free from Spanish rule since 1895, and American newspapers happily fueled outrage by printing dramatic and often exaggerated stories of Spanish cruelty. Then in 1898, the U.S. battleship USS Maine mysteriously exploded in Havana Harbor. No one ever proved Spain was responsible, but it started the Spanish-American War. It was short, decisive, and very profitable for the U.S. Spain was defeated. Cuba became independent, with heavy American supervision. After this, the US had a realization. Being powerful at home was nice, but having influence overseas was way better. Fast forward to 1900, President McKinley was assassinated, and suddenly Theodore Roosevelt became president in 1901. Roosevelt believed in projecting power, and nothing showed that better than the Panama Canal. Built by the United States between 1904 and 1914, the canal created a shortcut between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, saving ships weeks of travel around South America. To make it happen, the U.S. conveniently supported Panama's independence from Colombia in 1903 and secured control of the Canal Zone. The project was brutal. Thousands of workers died from disease and accidents, but advances in medicine and engineering got it done. When the canal opened in 1914, it transformed global trade, and naval power, and confirmed what was now obvious. The United States had officially arrived as a world power. In the last 100 years, the United States went from a skinny strip of 13 colonies on the Atlantic coast to a continent-spanning powerhouse, and was now warming up to play on the world stage, when everyone thought all the wars were over and the world was about to enter an era of peace and prosperity. World War I started. Hey guys, are you ready for this? Come on man, we're tired of fighting all these wars and changing costumes. Cover this in the next video, we're out. Geez, someone woke up on the wrong side of the trench. What happened next? Well, to know the next 100 years of American history, wait for the next video. Watch it here if you're from the future.